Whew, well, this video is late, isn't it? Yeah, sorry about that. This particular video has kind of been tugging at the back of my head here for a while. See, I love games. I really do. I am a giant gamer dork. I have been since before any of you knew me, possibly before I was even a big music dork. My love for games goes so far back that I can't remember which one came first. I've always been passionate about it, and once I started kinda getting the hang of this YouTuber shtick, I figured it would be awesome to branch out and cover two of my biggest passions at the same time. I figured we could go into interesting places with it. But, we all know things didn't exactly go according to plan. Like I mentioned in the past, my original idea when I first started up a YouTube channel actually was Game & Crash. I wanted to make a gaming-based channel, but when I noticed such a large hole in the market, at the time at least, for music-based content of this style, I figured that might be a better place to start, and in the end, it ultimately was. I'm super happy at how successful the show has been. I never thought we'd get halfway to the accomplishments we have today, but here we are, and we still keep growing, and it's still an absolute joy making Rock Critic. I love doing it, and I still want to make music content for you guys for as long as I can keep going at it. I adore this job. But with games, I hate to say it, but we really have hit a lot of snags along the way. There's no reason to deny it. YouTube nixing monetization for smaller channels was a big death knell, having to basically kill the old channel, along with all my plans to take it much further, and in addition, trying to squeeze all of that content into my Rock Critic schedule, which is already packed enough as it is. It's been fun trying to keep it up, but this was never what I envisioned for Game & Crash. I was never able to devote the time, love, and effort into this idea that I always wanted to. God knows we tried, and you know, I'm proud of the work we were able to do, but this just isn't gonna work out. Not in its current state, at least, so it is with a heavy heart that I announce, as of basically this year, and this particular video, Game & Crash is going on an indefinite hiatus. It's not a hard cancellation per se. I never want to say never when it comes to this. But if I ever do, edited gaming content again, I want to be able to devote proper time and attention to these topics, give them the treatment they deserve. But as it stands now, I just don't have the availability to do that. Maybe that'll change someday, maybe not, but I figured those of you that have sincerely enjoyed what I've been doing in this field, I just wanted to say a sincere and special thank you to you specifically, and I figured you should at least understand what's going down, and why you won't be seeing much more gaming content from me, in the immediate future at least. I'm sorry if that disappoints some of you. It disappoints me for sure, but well, if it's any consolation, I did just open up a Twitch channel, link below in the description. We'll definitely be streaming stuff over there from time to time. It's really a lot of fun. I enjoy Twitch streaming. Actually, when this video comes out, I'll probably be announcing a new stream within the next day or two, so yeah, feel free. This year, I honestly need to focus on trimming some fat and streamlining things a bit over here on Rock Critic. So Game & Crash, for now at least, is just one of those things that has to go. But you know what? Even in the mad crunch that was last year, I was still able to get a fair amount of games played. So, how about one more last proper go, eh? For old time's sake, let's not call this a definitive goodbye for Game & Crash, more of a see you around, okay? Cool? Alright, cool. So here are my favorite and least favorite games for 2018. Let's just get the least favorite ones out of the way quickly, shall we? Okay, so you guys gotta remember, I don't do best and worst when it comes to games, per se. I do favorites, least favorites. I don't get the chance to play nearly as many games, especially this year, as I do listen to albums, and I'm only speaking for myself, and my perception's a little narrow when it comes to the entire year. Hell, I only just recently got around to playing Persona 5 this year, and if I had played that back when it originally dropped, oh my god, yeah, that so would have been my game of the year. How did I miss this? You'll never see it coming. Ryuji is best waifu.
Suck my dick. Everyone here can suck my dick.
So this was the year I finally decided to give the Pokemon series my first big try. I played Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee specifically, if that matters, and I discovered that I really don't like Pokemon very much. Again, it's not on the list because it's a bad game. It isn't. Hell, almost all of the entries on my least favorites list either are or at least contain good games on them. I would say Pokemon Let's Go is a good game. The problem, it's just so not my thing. I understand the appeal. It's kind of a standard-ish baby's first RPG kind of deal with a simplistic but addictive core gameplay loop and a cutesy as hell art style with adorable and interesting creature designs. If you played these games, especially as a kid, I would totally get why it serves as such a fun and addictive flood of nostalgia. But I was never into Pokemon. I don't know, I'm kind of old, guys. I aged out of Pokemon just as it was getting big in my area, so I missed the whole train. I walked into this game without any kind of nostalgia goggles or anything on, and wow, this game is so boring. That simple and repetitive gameplay loop, yeah, it's a bit too simple and repetitive for me. Like I said, it's baby's first RPG in all the ways that are good and all the ways that are bad. While I wouldn't say I'm an RPG expert or anything, I have played enough RPGs in my day to know that apart from the collecting aspect of the game, this is a very bare bones experience. There's not much to the story, there's not much to the gameplay. The collecting element is kind of the only big thing it has going for it, and if you aren't into that, there's just not much else for you here. But if you are a collector, or if this series is what instilled a love of collecting cute animals into you, then yeah, I get it. I even respect it. It's not a bad game, like I said. For what it does very well. But what it does is just so not for me. I'm just saying, don't expect a Nuzlocke out of me anytime soon, okay? Yeah, remember what I said about every game on my least favorite list at least having good games in them in some capacity? Well, this one has two good games. Hell, in my eyes, they're some of the greatest games in history. We finally have a proper localized console version of the best game in the classic style Castlevania series, i.e. Rondo of Blood, and we have one of the best games of all time, Symphony of the Night, finally ported to modern consoles. Good deal, right? So why is this on the list then? Well, it's not for lack of quality in the games, that's for sure. They still play very well and look as good as they always have. Though as a hardcore fan, I am a little huffy about them using the redubbed versions of the voices for Symphony of the Night.
Ha! Mankind! A cesspit of hatred and lies!
People, it's not Symphony of the Night unless it's a miserable little pile of secrets. You feel me? What has me placing it on this list is basically the atrocious quality of this, quote, collection. It's these two games and literally nothing else. Like, nothing at all. No other games, no other modes, no special features, no unlockables, not even concept art or, like, anything. Hell, there's barely even a menu to select the games. This is the most bare bones collection you could possibly get away with. They're just one tiny step above running the ROMs in an emulator with a crappy JPEG resting in the background. The lack of presentation really hurts this package, even if the games are still great and more or less intact. I guess for $20 I shouldn't be too pissy about it, but Oh, hey, wait, what's this? Also for around 20 bucks? Well, what do you know? It's the Dracula X Chronicles on PSP, a game that not only contains literally everything that's on this collection, but also a remixed version of Rondo of Blood, along with oodles of special features and lots of other cool stuff. You gotta own a PSP in 2019 to play it, but hey, this is totally out there if you do. Konami has basically already made a better version of this collection. Fucking years ago. How hard would it have been to just port that over to modern platforms? Would it have killed them? Hell no, of course not. Konami could have pulled this off without breaking a sweat. But they didn't. And sing along if you know the words, because Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst. Seriously, fuck Konami and fuck Metal Gear Survive while we're at it. I didn't play that game, so it's not on this list technically, but still, fuck you, Konami. Yeah, again, another collection that just doesn't understand how to collection properly. Now, I should place a little asterisk next to this one, I guess, because if I'm being honest, Mega Man X Legacy Collection Volume 1 is pretty freaking great. All the best Mega Man X games in one place with dozens of extras, collectibles, new modes, tons of extra bang for your buck overall. The first half of this collection, at least. Yeah, I'd recommend it. But Volume 2, oh my god, people. Seriously, Capcom, why would you do this? Well, I take it back. I know exactly why you'd do this, you greedy little pricks. Hell, I thought splitting the original Mega Man Legacy Collection in two was a bad move back when you did that, but at least the original Mega Man series had enough consistently good titles in its lineup to kinda, sorta, almost, but not really justify it. With Mega Man X, in my opinion at least, after X4, they seriously dip in quality. Like, it's drastic, people. Some people like Mega Man X5, I guess, but holy shit, the stupid Enigma Cannon shit can go eat a dick. Mega Man X6 is so bad, it's literally unplayable in places. Mega Man X7... and X8... I mean, it's okay, I guess. It's alright. I don't really mind X8 that much, personally. But if Mega Man X8 is the best game you have on your collection, reconsider your fucking collection, mate. I would still say Legacy Collection 1 is pretty good, but I'm putting the entire collection here mostly on principle. It's a shady, awful, money-grubbing tactic from Capcom here that they really don't need to be doing. Stuff like this is just awful. It's anti-consumer, it's a spit into our faces, and it's even a spit into their own faces because, oh, hey, what's this? A nifty little collection that contains most of the games actually done right. Say what? Castlevania Requiem may have been a bare bones package, but at least all of its games were good. This... why doesn't anyone remember how to do good collections anymore? No, seriously, why doesn't anyone know how to make good collections anymore? Sega, are you serious with this crap? So yeah, I did end up buying a lot of retro stuff this year to kind of stay in my comfort zone a bit. I picked up pretty much every collection I could get my hands on, but you want the definition of a shitty collection of old games? This almost takes the entire cake. The menus and presentation are just awful. There's very little in the means of extra features, and the online features are an absolute joke. It's one of the shittiest means of online multiplayer I've ever experienced. You can't even pick which bloody game you want to play when going online, and in the rare case you actually do find an online matchup, the games are laggy and glitchy and buggy as all shit. I've played emulators that do this better. Sega, if you weren't even gonna try with this, why did you even bother? Oh, and don't get me started on the games provided. Where the hell is Sonic 3? Sonic and Knuckles? Rocket Knight Adventures? Contra Hardcore, Castlevania Bloodlines, Castle of Illusion, Aladdin, no arcade ports or Master System games or unlockable games or anything. Oh, but we get all-time classics like Sonic Spinball, Bonanza Brothers, Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle. Yeah, thank God every Sega Classics collection has this piece of shit on it. I mean, if you have absolutely no other way to play these games, I guess it's fine. But if you have even a barely adequate PC or even a barely adequate smartphone these days, you can just find the ROMs for all these titles and with next to zero effort, play them all for free. And B, I'm giving Sega major shit for this because like every other shitty collection listed here, they know how to do this right. They actually have. Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection here was basically this style of game done right last console generation. Hell, if you still have a PS3 or an Xbox 360, you can pick this game up for less than $12, and it's such a better deal. You actually get snazzy menus, lots more customability, oodles of extra content, instead of the saddest child's playroom ever and online features that don't fucking work. This would have easily taken the title for worst game and worst collection of the year if it weren't for one other thing. Oh, brace yourselves, people. Full disclosure, I didn't pick up one of these until January of this year, but I saw a huge display of them at a Best Buy in a gigantic pile front and center of the store, selling for $60. Like 2 weeks after Christmas, $60. Ouch. This thing had to cut its price nearly in half, and it still wasn't selling. I had to literally wipe a layer of dust off the box when I picked it up off the display. It was literally pathetic. I pitied Sony for this mess. Hell, I picked one up just thinking, $60 for this? I mean, it sucks, but how bad could it really be? I took it back the very next day. Never pity a corporation. Fuck them. Look, the thing is, this bloody wretched thing is contempt made manifest in physical form. Sony has been getting lots of shit for this botched abortion of a product, and I say, if anything, y'all are being way too nice. The fucking gall of this company to release this thing in the state that it is in is atrocious. I thought the Sega and Mega Man X collections had bad game selection and glaring omissions. Those are both solid gold compared to this thing. This thing only has 20 games on it, and for all your trouble, you get gems such as Destruction Derby, Cool Borders 2, the first Persona game that nobody over here actually remembers or cares about all that much. Mr. Driller, are you serious? The list of games missing from this thing could take up another video in and of itself. But hell, even the good games they put on here, they couldn't get right. So even the tiniest nostalgic twinge I was hoping to evoke from this thing, yeah, couldn't even do that. Jesus. And a system like this was ripe with possibilities. They could have done so much in the line of special features and presentation, and they could have made this so good. I mean, yeah, this thing is obviously a blatant and shameless copy of the Nintendo Classic systems, but here was Sony's chance to improve upon Nintendo's ideas and try new things. Nintendo didn't get their classic systems 100% right. They totally could have done more with those. But say what you want about them, at least they got presentation right. This should have been the easiest of slam dunks for Sony. This should have been one of the hottest items of the entire year. But it's clear Sony put zero effort into this. Again, all these games are titles that you could play on an emulator for fucking free. And hell, that $60 would literally be better spent on a Raspberry Pi and a cheapo case to plug into your TV. In fact, LGR has a great video on how to do precisely that. After this debacle, I kinda hope the classic console craze is gonna die here soon. Again, it's just a shady, underhanded tactic to get people to pay more money for less content, fewer features, and infinitely less customer respect. I know it's fun to revisit nostalgia. Hey, I'm old as fuck. I'm a giant sucker for nostalgia. Hell, I bought all this garbage in 2018. But people, we really need to start doing better, because as long as we keep supporting this bad behavior, it's just gonna keep happening. So, yeah, never pity a corporation. Whew, okay, that's out of my system, thank God. How about we talk about some good games for a while, yeah? So let's quickly touch on the honorable mentions before we get into things proper. You know, I haven't played a ton of Yakuza games, but I love what little time I have spent in that series. So a title that's basically just Yakuza with a great big old dumb 80s anime stretched over it? Yeah, I'd say that's a hell of an improvement. I can't think of too much else I'd add to a Yakuza game to make it more fun. This game was a riot, and it's starting to fall in price, so, you know, legit, catch up on this one if you haven't already. It's an absolute hoot. It's probably one of the funniest goddamn games I played all year. And I'm not sure it was meaning to be, but it was so cool. Yeah, this is basically just OG Dark Souls at the end of the day. The changes they made, apart from some of the graphics and quality of life adjustments here and there, weren't a dramatic shift or anything, but I was a guy who got into the Dark Souls series super late, and I never really had a great way to go back and experience the original title, so having this come out this year was a very fun and welcome addition to my collection. Plus, it was fun getting to experience an active Souls game multiplayer arena for the first time. That was a lot of fun, actually seeing the servers full of people ready to hand my ass to me. A classic, fun-as-hell Kirby game with just enough tweaks to the formula to keep it engaging. I wouldn't say it's the best Kirby game I've ever played or anything, but me and my friends always had a lot of fun pulling this one out. It's nice to see that Nintendo still have a really good grasp on what makes Kirby so fun and appealing. Now please bring extra epic yarn to the Switch. I know it's on 3DS, but I don't want to play it on the 3DS. That shit cramps the fuck out of my hands. Mario Party games are fun again! Mario Party games are fun again! Yeah! Now stick that fucking car in the garbage where it belongs, douse it in gasoline, and drop a match. Let us never speak of the dark times again. You know, for a game that's essentially just one great big demo for a game that may or may not ever even come out, this was still a really good title. I gotta give it up. Full of that wonderful charm and humor Toby Fox is so well known and celebrated for, along with a totally revamped and super fun RPG style gameplay, Deltarune was a great experience. The only real complaint I have is that it's just so short. But hey, even then, you really gotta consider what you're getting for your no dollars here. It's fantastic. I have no idea what this project will eventually morph into, but whatever it is, Toby, you totally have my attention, dude. I am so amped for whatever you're cooking up. If it's even anything at all. Again, Toby Fox is very eccentric. He likes to work at his own pace. I'm not trying to pressure you or anything, dude. Not at all. You do you. You do you. Just let me know when I can do you. You know what I mean? I should totally have phrased that better. How about we just get the list going proper, shall we? Yeah, this was a good Smash. Like, this is probably about as good as Smash can get in my eyes. If they keep making Smash Brothers games, which believe me, they will, I'm not even sure what they're going to be able to do to top this one. The downright maniacal amount of characters and stages to choose from, tons of different ways to play. Hell, even the story mode is back in this version. It's kind of a dull grind fest that doesn't go anywhere and has some of the most hair-pulling, frustrating moments ever in it, but it's there. It's there. It's cool that it's there. Everyone's here. How can you be grumpy about that? Not being a super huge Smash Brothers fan or anything, I couldn't tell you all the little tricks and intricacies that make this one drastically different from most of the other games. I mean, some people are straight up married to their copies of Melee, and look, I don't know what to tell those people, but the game is gorgeous, memorable, and extremely fun, especially with friends. If you have a Switch, yeah, this one is a must get. But then again, how many of you bought your Switch specifically for this game? Be honest. Look, the Smash series is a very solid series, and again, I have no idea what they're gonna do in the future, but hey, I'm totally down for it if this level of quality is any indication. Also, I can't wait to get my hands on Joker. You'll never see it coming! I'm sorry, I'm totally a Persona dork now. Wow, this was a nice surprise, wasn't it? The way a lot of the big Kickstarter success story games have been breaking our hearts here lately, what with Yooka-Laylee and Mighty No. 9 being disappointing, it's no surprise that people have been kind of biting their nails over the Bloodstained game that's supposedly coming out this year. Especially me, like I've already mentioned in this very video, big Castlevania fan here, especially when it comes to Symphony of the Night, and while the original title seems to keep getting hit with delay after delay after delay, they actually were able to complete the little prequel title they promised in return for meeting one of their Kickstarter goals. Oh, cool, right? That prequel game eventually developed into Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. And holy shit, this little thing's freaking awesome! Whereas Ritual of the Night is going to be more Symphony of the Night styled, Curse of the Moon is styled more like a classic NES Castlevania title. And it freaking rules! The combat is fun and challenging in that classic tough but fair Castlevania way. The character switching is straight out of Castlevania 3, and it adds a lot of variety and depth to the way you can play the game, multiple endings with multiple scenarios to play out, and lots of extra stuff to unlock, add a ton of extra replay value to the game, and at less than $10? Dude, hell yes! This game is on that same level as, say, Shovel Knight, where it evokes a classic retro-style game feel, but adds just the right extra tweaks, bells, and whistles to help make the experience more palatable. But after finally getting a hold of what Iga and his team are capable of with a little, I'm damn interested to see what they can do with a lot. Seriously, I really hope this game is good. I want this to be good so bad. Please come out this year, dude. Oh my god. Between this and the new Tool album, I think I'm gonna fucking die. You know, if I'd had a chance to play more stuff, real talk, this probably wouldn't be nearly as high as it is on my list this year. I'm sorry, but I still posit that this game isn't as good as all the major publication blowjobs made it out to be. But regardless of even that, it's still a really good game, for what it is at least. God of War was a series that needed a big mix-up in order to stay relevant. The old formula was crazy stale, and I sincerely appreciate a lot of what they did to make this game happen. It's bold, beautiful, and more bloody than ever, and it sincerely feels like they successfully took this series into directions I didn't even think were possible. The story is pretty damn good, and so is a lot of the character development. For a series that used to feel almost hostile towards those ideas, it's so damn cool to see how much this series has matured. It wasn't all great, mind. The combat system had its wonkier moments, the RPG elements were super clunky, and for as beautiful as the map was, there was way too much goddamn backtracking through it. But yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't admit to having a lot of fun with this game. And honestly, even with the gripes I have, none of them were deal breakers. It just feels like a game that's trying to nail down a bunch of new innovations and systems, but doesn't quite have them all figured out yet. While this isn't exactly the most graceful of soft reboots, I am still super excited to see what we get in God of War 2? Wait, they can't call it God of War 2, can they? It's bad enough they went with the sequel with the same name thing. If they call this next one God of War 2, that is really gonna fuck with the filing system. What is this series? Halloween? Predictable choice, I'm sure, but god damn, this game was just so good. Way better than I think a lot of us were honestly expecting. Spider-Man games just do not have the best track record out there, do they? Even though a lot of the trailers and build of this game really did make it seem like it was going to be cool, there was always that lingering sense of familiar negativity with this one, wasn't there? No matter how good Sony and Insomniac were able to make this game look to us, there was always that old feeling hanging out in the back of your head like, it's a Spider-Man game, how good could it be? Thankfully, the answer to that old chestnut was Game of the Year level. Woo! This could very well count as one of the best Spider-Man games ever made, if not the best Spider-Man game ever made. Again, on paper that doesn't sound as hot as it is, but this one was a blast from start to finish. You just gotta admire how organic everything about this game feels. From the combat to the environmental design to the web slinging, everything about this title just felt natural and easy to adapt to. Hell, especially the web slinging. In my eyes, this was even better than the old Spider-Man 2 game. Your moveset while web slinging and climbing makes for a fun as hell metagame in and of itself. It's so satisfying to pull off the right combinations of swings, launches, and falls to keep yourself moving at a lightning fast pace. Keeping the momentum going becomes a reward in and of itself. The game has a fast travel system, but you'll barely ever end up using it. And the combat, while feeling very Arkham as hell, is still solid and robust with a lot of nice unlockable additions to tack onto your arsenal. And all the extra costumes and collectibles are something that'll keep the completionists happy. And even the story is pretty damn good in this game. Not tying itself to any current Spider-Man property was definitely a good idea, because the lengths they were able to go to with this plot really made it one of the more engaging Spider-Man stories I read or saw this year. It was, again, surprisingly good. But let's be real, Spider-Verse did it way better. Fuck, this movie was good. Not only did this game meet our expectations, it flung itself way over our preconceived notions and gave us one of the best gaming experiences in 2018. Though not the greatest, not in my eyes at least. While Spider-Man would have probably been a nice, safe choice for me to go with here, god damn it, there was one other game I played in 2018 that I just loved more than anything else, even more than this. And that game would be... Whew, you want to talk about unexpected? I did not expect this game to hit me so goddamn hard. Holy hell, Celeste. You've probably been seeing this one pop up on several lists as that one indie darling title that a lot of major outlets like to heap boatloads of praise on. But hey, in this case at least, they weren't wrong. Celeste is an absolutely wonderful game that deserves all of the praise it's been getting. Seriously, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least give this one a shot. The gameplay is sort of like Super Meat Boy if it were sane. It's platforming of the ultra mega super challenging variety. Like seriously people, this one's a toughie. Don't say I didn't warn you. Even if you are used to these kind of games, this one will kind of kick your ass. Do not buy this thing on Switch. Oh my god, playing this game on Joy-Cons felt like injecting the carpal tunnel directly into my fingers. But again, it's the right kind of challenging. Extremely tough, but perfectly fair. And when you do finally ace those trickier sections, you feel like a goddamn god for being able to get past them. Especially if you're playing on Joy-Cons. People seriously do not buy this for the Switch. It works fine, but oh god, have that Pro Controller handy. And the game has a treasure trove of extra stuff to unlock, extra features to dig up, remixed and reworked levels. It's a game that feels really great to finish, but feels downright invigorating to 100%. As far as mechanics and game design goes, yeah, it's outstanding. But what really hit me with this title was the story. Madeline struggles with her own anxiety and the darker side of herself, a side that constantly ridicules her, belittles her, and at moments even physically threatens her in order to keep her down. As someone that suffers from an anxiety disorder, yeah, that hit home with me in a very profound way. Like, some of the dialogue between Madeline and her darker half just... Man, I've been there. I've had those conversations with myself. I can't describe to you how hard a lot of that stuff hit home with me personally. I've been Madeline in so many of these situations. I can see a lot of my own struggles in her journey here, and the way they resolve Madeline's conflict, particularly the conflict between Madeline and her dark side, was insanely touching. I don't want to spoil a goddamn thing for you, because this is sincerely a game you should experience for yourself, but just trust me here, it is all of the feels, like literally all of the feels. And while the game isn't exactly perfect, again, the finger-destroying difficulty might be a turnoff for some of you. Thankfully, assist mode is totally a thing, and they do not guilt you at all for using that option, so please, feel free to go ahead. I don't blame you. And even this narrative, while I love it so much, it does have its moments of... But out of all the games I played in 2018, this one left the biggest mark on me. It's fun, it's insightful, it's touching, and once you've trekked through that seemingly unconquerable mountain and reached the top, you genuinely feel richer for having made the journey. You honestly feel a sense of growth and personal development for analyzing this and taking it into your life. This game isn't just a game, it's fucking beautiful. And I am so glad I got the chance to spend some real quality time with it. Climb the mountain, people. You will like what you find at the top, I promise you.
Super special thanks to Color Around and No Medicine.